наступило время для нового путешествия. Должен пересечь 12 стран и доехать до Сиднея, Австралия.
Идеальный ураган идет! Вот и первое падение. Здесь можно спасаться только шлемом от мух.
И где-то там Антарктида.
Ну что ж, поехали дальше.
I'm in Australia. Hooray.
Прибыл свой
I have arrived at my hotel.
быстро, очень
It was all quite quick, expensive and beautiful.
Пошел в отель.
So I'm going to check in the hotel now.
Arrive to Australia by bike and go. Yeah. But now I wait my bike from East Timor. Нормальный хостел.
Good hostel.
Сосед Тори.
The French guy Tori was my roommate.
How far to ocean?
Ocean?
Ocean.
Ocean?
Океан, ёпт.
Ocean is just but you can't swim. You can't go in the water.
Ага.
Don't do it because you can die.
Why?
Selfish,
Ah,
shark,
cool.
crocodile.
Cool. Okay.
Don't do it.
No,
She wants to
I
stay
not
alive.
try.
I have been recording it for 45 seconds. I was speaking beautifully and not a word has been recorded. But at least I got the natural emotion.
Пришел в национальный парк.
I have come to the national park,
Ну, то есть в лес, другими словами.
in other words forest.
Заниматься.
I wanted to do some exercises and it's raining here. It keeps raining and raining.
Это даже не джунгли.
It's not jungle, it's some kind of Australian forest. And the humidity here is really, really high. I'm so tired.
Все. Очень хочу.
I'm desperate to see the nature of my homeland. After 5 days of incessant rains in dark Darwin City, there came the sun.
Темного Дарвина. Наступила
The weather is great. It's warm.
супер погода.
The sun that came out improved the mood
Сразу настроение лучше.
because the sun is near.
Что солнце рядом.
And it goes like this every day.
С каждым
With every
днем
next day, I was getting more and more tired of doing nothing. And I started coming up with ideas of how to keep myself busy. So I went to do some indoor rock climbing, which is very popular in Australia.
Hello. Потом
Then, walking through the park, I saw guys sparring with each other. I asked their permission to do some sparring with them, but it turned out that I was more like an instructor for them, because those were young guys who decided not to pay money for the gym and do some self-training. Of course, their skill level was pretty low, and I had a chance to remember my youth.
А я как раз вспомнил свою молодость.
Очень красиво.
It's really beautiful here.
Bye. Maybe see you.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. Yeah.
Таким образом проходили мои
That's how I spent my days in Darwin.
путешествия.
My traveling friends all found jobs.
Сварщиком.
Chris is a welder from New Zealand and he had a work permit.
Разрешение на работу.
The English guy found a job on the farm,
Украина.
and Chris's wife worked in the hostel so that she could live in the hostel.
Контейнер с мотоциклом
The
приехал.
container with the motorbikes came on the 6th of March,
Марта.
but they didn't give us the bikes because we were supposed to first get the customs clearance. So we were wandering around the place and waiting for our motorbikes.
И ждали мотоцикл. Однажды прогуливаясь по
One day, walking along the shore, I came across aboriginals. Or to be more exact, one aboriginal woman and a white guy.
они там жили.
They were living there in the tent.
I'm from Ukraine. Yeah,
Pushy is my name.
I'm Alex.
Alex. Yeah. Oh, that's a good name.
Австралиец уже был.
The Australian guy had retired.
Вот это был.
He had been a truck driver, and the woman had never worked.
Great. Other sisters.
Кстати,
By the way, there are lots of aboriginals in Darwin, these black, authentic Australians.
австралийцы.
No, don't take pictures.
Привет, желтый.
Hello, my yellow one.
Я, конечно, вычистил мотоцикл.
I had certainly polished my motorbike to the bone, but still there were places where the mud couldn't have been removed, and I thought they would make me do it, and every 30 minutes there cost like $50.
Действительно, офицер.
The officer inspected everything carefully, the bags, the tires, he looked inside with a torch, but anyway, the control wasn't as strict as I thought it would be. They were more interested not in the bike, but in the tires, so that there would be no seeds brought from Indonesia or any other country, because they are really afraid that some plant brought into Australia from abroad will start to grow there.
Не так страшен черт, как его
The devil is not so black like he's painted.
минут.
It took us 30 minutes to pass the quarantine. We still have to go through the customs, but everything is pretty civilized and polite.
2 недели ожидания корабля.
2 weeks waiting for the ferry, 2 weeks waiting for the quarantine, 2 days waiting for what else was there, the customs control, and now the last hours or minutes waiting for the bike. Soon I will pick it up.
Ну вот я опять на колесах.
So now I am on wheels again, and I can continue my travel. I decided to go along the western coast to Perth, and then turn and go east to Sydney. I shortened the route a bit, as I had been traveling for 4 months already, and all I wanted was to get home as soon as possible. The temperature is 37 degrees Celsius, and it's rising now. I'm going to head west along the ocean, but it's quite hot. The interesting thing is that the roads here are great, but there aren't any cars here at all. Well, except for my bike. The Western Australia welcomed me with the heat, 35, 38, 40, 42 degrees Celsius, cloudless skies, scorching sun all the time. First couple of days it was a real torture, because when I was taking a break at 6 p.m. it was really hot, humid. Every 50 kilometers I would stop to pour water over myself. I would pour water in my crash helmet and then put it on and continue riding.
Яблок.
Some apples, a banana, grapes, strawberries,
И прохладного.
and cold bed sheets.
Через какое-то время
After some time, my wrists started to burn, as it was the only part of my skin that was exposed to sunlight. So what I did was I sewed these little pieces of fabric onto the gloves, so that my wrists would be protected during riding. Check it out, nice thing, isn't it? Unbelievable hurricane is coming! I need to go that way! I need to go that way! There's the sun there! Sun! And that way there's hurricane! I saw it for the first time in my life. When, in a moment, the temperature fell from 40 to 20 degrees. Unbelievable rain and hurricane. I had to hold the bike to keep it from falling. You see? Every day is not a Sunday.
Я просто ощутил, что это
I
такое,
really
такое
felt
сила-
what it's like,
сила
the
природы.
power of nature here.
Вот, и когда
When they later told me that in this place there might be floods, I took it seriously and was careful. But before it happened, I thought, the sun is shining and it's
солнце
hot,
светит,
what can
жара,
happen
что
here?
может быть?
Here, for the first time during my travel, I turned off the light and even unscrewed the bulb. Why? Because it's dangerous to ride in the evening or at night with the light on, as the kangaroo sees the light and jumps on it.
Она светлая.
And I even saw a huge cow lying on the road, and which had been run over.
Стереотип Австралии,
There's this stereotype about Australia that there are a lot of strange wild animals here.
Ну, а на самом деле
But the truth is, it doesn't matter whether it's in Ukraine, Nepal, Russia or
в
Australia.
России или в Австралии разницы абсолютно никакой
It
нет.
doesn't matter at all.
Единственное,
The only dangerous
может
thing
быть,
here
это
is
крокодил, который водится
crocodile,
только
which lives in the rivers only.
в
And
речках,
there's no river
а
here,
здесь речки нет,
so
поэтому
there's nothing to be afraid of.
пойду обустраиваться.
So I will
вниз.
go down there to pitch up my tent.
Итак, сегодня на ужин у
So,
нас
what do we have for supper tonight?
хлебушек
Some onion, bread, and a
Сосиска.
sausage,
и кетчуп.
some ketchup.
Последний
That's all I
продукт,
have with me now.
который у меня сейчас с собой есть. Интересно, что
An interesting fact is that drinking water in Australia costs more than gas. Gas costs almost $2 and the water almost
вода почти
3
3
or even more.
литра. Даже побольше, наверное, будет.
Сегодня самое доброе
Today is
утро
the best morning in my 6-day Australian travel
путешествие по Австралии в течение 6 дней. Потому что
because it's 20 degrees Celsius and the sun is shining.
солнце, я спокойно встал.
I got up and did some exercises, and now I am going to continue my journey to Perth City.
Состояние
Now I am getting real big pleasure from the travel and movement.
наслаждением движением.
And every day and every hour is something that will never repeat. This moment will never repeat, so you should enjoy it. And I am able to do it. It's happiness.
Это счастье.
Где бы я ни ехал рядом
Wherever
с
I'm
побережьем,
traveling near the
всегда
coast, I
возникает
always stop by the ocean. It's some kind of a law. I decided to go around Perth, not through it, and then I turned left to the east and headed for Sydney.
Сидней.
Ну, немножко
Well, I
уронил.
dropped it a little, but only a little. And I can stay here for the night.
Туда сейчас.
Yeah, there by the birch trees.
Ой, красота какая.
What a beauty.
Кенгуру всю ночь бегал.
Kangaroos have been running around all night.
Мешали спать.
Kept me awake.
Но слава богу.
But
отступили
thank
к ночи
goodness
со мной.
they retreated at 2 o'clock.
А я сейчас
And
думаю,
now I'm thinking whether to text it
писать
or
или не
not.
писать. Это действительно
Because it's a really important step.
Ну что, ты готов?
So, are you ready now?
Так получилось, что в этом лесу
It happened so that in this forest I started texting with my loved one,
дело дошло до
and it
того,
all
что
went
я
so far that I asked her hand in
положил ей
marriage.
руку и сердце. Я сделал это.
I did it.
Для меня это совсем не свойственно.
It's not like me at all.
Полгода назад я даже
Half a year ago I thought that I would never get married.
Мне страшно.
I'm scared.
Пока думает.
She's still thinking.
Пока думает.
She's still thinking.
А мне уже думать.
And I have nothing to think about. I have jumped.
Мой стереотип семейной жизни.
My stereotype of married life tells me that I lose my freedom.
Поэтому, когда
That's why when Natasha said
Наташа
yes,
согласилась, я был в
I was
шоке.
shocked.
Не от того, что она
Not because she
согласилась,
said yes,
от того, как
but
я
because I was
боюсь
really
этого
afraid to
шага,
make the step that I
который
made.
сделал.
Как будто
It
попал.
feels like I have been run over by a train.
Самый большой страх. Это,
It was the
наверное, был
biggest
самый
fear
большой
after
страх после
Pakistan.
Пакистана. Но потом
But then it all disappeared.
в Австралии я решил.
In Australia, I decided to visit one natural site called Wave Rock.
Wave Rock. Скала волна.
Вот она.
Here it is.
Вот она, волна.
This is the Wave Rock.
Это действительно
It's a really grand thing.
штука. Единственное, если бы еще не
If
было
only
народу
there
там,
had been fewer people
можно
so
было
that I could
почувствовать
feel it
это
here.
место. Но
But even with the
даже так,
people, I got the feeling of how great that thing was and how small I am in this planet.
пространство.
Ну все, теперь
And now the
последний
only
раз
site left to visit is Sydney. So let's get going.
На
At
очередном
one of the
повороте
turns, I
я решил
decided to
поехать
take a shortcut
по гравию.
and hit the gravel road.
Красная глина, ты
I was
идешь
riding it
такой, народу
fine,
мало,
red clay,
класс.
no people. It was great.
Блин, ну кто так строит?
Damn! How could this ever happen?
Ладно,
Okay, I will fix it. It's not hot now. I will fix it alright. I have done it before. The main thing is for the pump to work.
Ничего страшного не произошло.
Nothing
Я
terrible
это
happened.
сделал,
It
там, за
took me a
пару
couple of
часов.
hours to fix it.
Единственная проблема
The only problem was
была
that
в том,
my
что
inner
моя
tube
камера
was
травила,
letting out
запасной
air,
камеры у меня
and
уже
I
не
didn't have
было,
a spare
а
one.
мне надо было еще через
And I
пару
had
тысяч ехать до
3,500 kilometers to go before Sydney.
Сиднея. Ремонтировал колесо, думаю,
I
ну
fixed
всё,
the
это
inner tube
последняя
and
камера,
thought
она тоже
it's
уже
the last one
ремонтирована,
and most
соответственно,
likely it's
будет
going to let out
И у меня
air.
такие
And then I
мысли
started
появились,
thinking
что, а вдруг я
maybe I will meet a
встречу
motorbiker,
какого-нибудь
pretty much
мотоциклиста,
every one of
там
them has a
стоит
spare inner
запасная
tube,
камера, то есть
and this motorbiker can give it to me.
Вот это вчера в меня
This thing yesterday got into my back wheel I'll be damned, what a weird thing. I was shocked. When I was getting it out, I thought it would be this long. And then I pulled it out, and it was so big. I don't understand how it got in there. He is from Adelaide. We had corresponded with him. And it turned out that he had been following my blog and he knew approximately where I was. And he was traveling from Adelaide to Perth and he was hoping to meet me. And he did. I have an inner tube. Do you want it? Yeah, actually I do, because it's the only one I got. Thank you so much. I won't be talking about Cosmos. Of course it was Cosmos. I thought I would reach Adelaide and buy an inner tube there. But I was also thinking that maybe I could meet somebody who... It's the environment that you live in. If you stay open, it helps you. So, take care. Please email me. I was happy to see you.
Yeah, okay, cool.
It tells everybody about you.
Пока.
Bye-bye. I think it's the beginning of a treeless plateau. 146 kilometers of treeless road. But let's see what's there. Wow. The beauty is surreal. Somewhere there, over the sea, there's the Antarctic. I have only 2,500 kilometers left to go until Sydney. So let's go. As usual, a pig will always find mud. I decided to turn a little to the north. I decided to go to the Victoria Desert to make a little detour. I bought a map. The detour was about 1,000 kilometers of dirt road. I finally made use of my 15-liter tank. I filled it up with gas and I filled up the bike tank as well and went off-road. Can you hear the silence? Australia is really a safe country. You just gotta take precautions against snakes and that's it. Makes me feel tense, but at the same time, if you mean no harm and you take all the necessary precautions, you won't have problems with snakes. I don't regret taking this detour at all, because there's a big difference between riding on an asphalt road with some cars and people and riding off-road when there's not a soul around you. The latter is much better. Here it's just you and yourself, and of course some flies. The sun came up and the flies woke up. There's an enormous number of them. Check it out. It's just unbelievable how many flies are here. My crash helmet is the only way I can protect myself from the flies.
Последние 130 километров.
The last 130 kilometers of off-road and then asphalt road.
Последние 1000
The last
километров до
1000 kilometers to Sydney,
Сиднея. И тут я свалился.
and I fell down there.
How much pressure have you got in your tyre? How much air pressure?
Круто. Как будто-
Cool. It's like it's the way it was meant to be.
Теперь я
Because
знаю,
now I know that there was too much pressure in my tires.
сильно накачанные. Сейчас я их сдул. Сейчас
Now I have
более-менее
let out some air and it's a bit easier to ride now. But anyway, it's difficult.
Двигаясь к финишу своего
Approaching the
путешествия,
finish
я
line of my
чувствовал,
travel, I was thinking that maybe today or maybe tomorrow I will change a bit. I will be better, happier, more joyful.
счастливее, радости. Но всё время
But I kept thinking about the future, about tomorrow, the day after, the 2 months ahead, about Sydney, Australia, or other continents that will come
континентах, которые
tomorrow.
будут завтра. А приехав
And
сюда,
having come
понимаешь,
here,
что
I realized
тогда,
that
когда
when I
ты
was
об этом
back
думал,
then in Australia,
когда ты думал
I
о
shouldn't have been
будущем,
thinking
нужно было
about the future.
не думать, вернее,
I should have
а
been
быть
there in the
сейчас,
moment,
быть
been in the
настоящим, и
present,
всё.
and that's
И
it.
вот ты и
That's how
пришел
you
к
come
себе.
to
Вот
yourself.
ты и каждый
You are
момент
with
находишься в
yourself
себе.
every moment of your
Ну,
life.
наверное, нужно было проехать эти
But I guess I
30
needed to
километров
cover
для того,
those
чтобы
30,000
просто
kilometers
осознать
so that I
через
could
ум,
not only
и
understand
принять
it with my
сердцем,
mind, but also
что
accept
каждый
it with my
момент
heart.
ты находишься в
That
этом
every
месте.
moment you are here and now, and to achieve it you don't need to go to some faraway places, Sydney, Africa or anywhere else.
Вот мое расстояние, которое
So that's the distance that I still have to cover,
И я наслаждался.
and I was really enjoying those last kilometers.
Я наслаждался
I was
дорогой.
enjoying the road,
Был в каждом моменте.
I was present in every moment,
Понимал, что
because I understood that those were the last kilometers of my travel.
это путешествие.
Оставляю свой путь безвозвратно. Тут что комплексами навеян. Там, где били неоднократно, но, увы, впустую ничем. А теперь, находясь на распутье, открывая в себе все живое, понимаю, что я на мгновение буду жить без понятия, кто я. И пусть буду я другим, не боюсь пути, только бы найти себя. И пусть не поймут меня, я же не звезда, но горю звездою я.
50 meters from here there's a highway with cars going here and there. At night there are kangaroos jumping around. It's great. It's life. Real life. Just be present in it, here and now, in this real life. Run and jump like a kangaroo. Don't run away. Don't be like, I need to spend the night and quickly go somewhere. No. Here, it's happening here and now. It's interesting and you have it all here. In you.
И пусть буду я другим, не боюсь пути, только бы найти себя. И пусть не поймут меня, я же не звезда, но горю звездою я. И пусть
Все.
That's it. The movie is over.